Welcome, welcome, welcome. I am happy to be here today. I am Charles Maddox, and welcome to another amazing show, a Blog Talk Radio show. I'm really excited about this one because as we are getting closer to the release of Trial by Fire, the movie, I wanted to be able to share some updates, share some great information with all of you. You guys have been waiting patiently, and it's very exciting. I've got also coming up Scott Callahan, who is a lawyer out of Texas who has done some great work for people with CRPS in the community. He also sponsored the screening that we had out there. I want to say thanks to Sherry and Johnette and the team out there who helped put that together as well. But really excited, it's been an amazing 12 months. And if you don't know who I am by now, I am the director and the producer of Trial by Fire. My mother, who I'm actually visiting right now, is laying in bed in Ocala, Florida. Suffers with CRPS, and actually she's got someone at her house as we speak who also has CRPS. Very interesting. So just coming to check on her and let her see the kids and give her some encouragement. Brought her a little bit of Jamaican food. So that was a good thing. So I'm sure she's happy with that. So we'll bring Scott on very soon. All right, let's try it now. Scott, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Can you hear me?
Yeah. How are you, Scott?
I'm doing great, Charles. Thank you for inviting me.
Good, good. Well, it's a pleasure to have you. And I know we first met in Texas. You were a part of helping get that screening put together out there with some of the amazing people who have CRPS in Texas, and that was a really great event. Not only did I meet some really awesome people, but just was able to, hear some testimonies and share and things like that. So I want to get right into it. Obviously, tell us a little bit about, about yourself, Scott. How long have you been practicing? What got you interested in CRPS initially?
Well, first of all, I want to say thank you to you. I had the privilege and honor of sponsoring Trial by Fire in Houston. We had a fantastic turnout, both of people who have CRPS as well as their families, as well as medical providers and physicians. And I don't think you get enough credit for the vision that you've had and the movement that you have started. The movie is fantastic, and I'm excited to see it released again and to see it again. And I just want to say thank you. I want to, I've been a lawyer for nearly 20 years now. I am board certified in personal injury trial law. And what that means is that I have been practicing long enough, I have tried enough cases, and I've taken the requisite exam to be board certified. A very small percentage of lawyers here in Texas are board certified, and so it's something that I'm proud of. I represent and have represented for the last close to 20 years only people who have been injured and the families of people who have been killed. And a big part of my practice for the last 10-plus years has been people who have been afflicted with CRPS. And so I'm intimately familiar with the condition, and it's been a privilege of mine to represent people and to try to help them and give them some hope.
Now, obviously, what was, because I'm sure you had to have the first scenario or case that came through and they said they had CRPS. What was your first initial thought on that? Because I'm sure you didn't know anything about it, or what has been the progression as far as your knowledge and how you have helped people with CRPS?
Well, as you know, the the government for years has classified CRPS as what's called a rare disorder. And what I've learned over the years is that it's not. It's a condition that I think historically has been misdiagnosed. It is a condition historically that I think a lot of doctors, unfortunately, don't accurately recognize. And so over the years, I think it's becoming something that more and more doctors and healthcare providers are becoming aware of. When I first encountered CRPS, it was at least 10 years ago. And you're right. I was like a lot of people. Didn't know much about it. Couldn't seem to find or get a lot of clear answers from treating physicians. And so I started to really dig into the literature. I dug into the medicine. And it intrigued me because there was a lot of mystery surrounding it. I think that's still true today. And 10 years later, I have a much better understanding as to what this horrible condition is. And luckily, I've been able to help out quite a few people over the years.
Now, this message that I got earlier, which was it's heartbreaking. I mean, and I know of another case that actually a lawyer wanted to use the film to show a jury because someone else, I guess, didn't believe, or the employer didn't believe that this person had CRPS. Do you encounter that where people are being prosecuted or they are dealing with, claims against them or things that are going against them in a negative because people don't believe what CRPS is? And how does someone deal with that?
It's a great question, and I think the best way to look at it is this. People with CRPS, they tend to have a fear of not being believed, and they've been through they've been diagnosed oftentimes with a condition that even they haven't heard of, and so a lot of times nobody understands them, and that's a feeling that they get of despair and helplessness. And unfortunately, I think as we talked about a few minutes ago, a lot of medical providers, because they are not adequately equipped or not trained in recognizing what CRPS is, I think a lot of folks feel like they're not being heard or not being believed by the medical profession. Then we get to family members, and family members oftentimes get frustrated, and they don't understand what their loved one is going through. But lastly, I see kind of a different aspect to this that a lot of people don't, and that is, I represent people who have CRPS as a result of the negligence of someone else. And so for cases that I accept and for clients whose cases I prosecute, what I see, Charles, is I see defense lawyers, I see defendants hiring experts and medical professionals to come along and to question and downright attack what people with CRPS are going through. And it's something that most people don't see. And I take depositions of defense experts. This week, in fact, I took the deposition of one of the preeminent medical experts, pain management physicians in the country on CRPS. And so I get to see a very different side of this, and what people, what treatments they are getting, what treatments they should be getting. And I think you've hit the nail on the head, and that is that, people with CRPS are oftentimes not believed, but also not understood. And that's something that I think needs to change.
Are there any first steps, obviously, that someone can take if they feel, that they have a case or they want to, contact someone like you? Is there anything that they should be keeping record of? Is there anything that they should, try to log? What are the first steps?
Well, the first steps are be an advocate for yourself. CRPS is a relentless and miserable condition, and it can consume someone, and so it's okay to ask for help. And in order to do that, you've got to be your own advocate. And for people who think they have a legal case, or they've been hurt by whether it's an on-the-job injury, 18-wheeler accident, a botched surgery, I encourage them and I welcome people to call me. I don't charge anything to talk to people, and I don't want people to feel like they should be intimidated to call a lawyer. I welcome phone calls, and I'll spend time on the phone with people. That's what I do. And there are cases that I am able to accept, but one of the toughest things for me is that not every person with a CRPS injury or condition has a legal case. But I will take the time to talk to people and to listen to them, and to see if there's anything that I can do to help.
That's awesome. Scott, we're almost out of time, so I want to do a close, and we'll have you back on too as well. We want to thank you so much for your contribution to what you've done, not only for CRPS, but for Trial by Fire. How can people get a hold of you?
I'm located in Texas, in Houston specifically, but I handle cases nationwide. My phone number is 713-888-9000. My email address is Scott, SCOTT, at scottcallahan.com, SCOTTCALLAHAN.com. And I encourage people to send me an email, call me. I will spend the time and visit with you. And I understand CRPS, and I understand what you're going through. And if there's something I can do to help, I'm here, and I'm happy to do that.
Thank you so much, Scott. We will post this and send you an email with it, and look forward to working together to really help those around the country with CRPS. So thanks so much.
Thank you, Charles, and thank you for what you're doing.